Hello, friends. I'm about to tell you a story of my life. My name is Jack. I am about to tell you about an event in my life. I consider this incident to be the most traumatic of my life. I cannot forget it, even if I want to. About 3 years have passed. I am an investment banker, and I belong to a wealthy family. My father is a successful businessman who runs a large empire. 2 of my brothers joined the business, but I was interested and considered myself to be self-made. I was interested in banking, and to be honest, it was a fine job financially for me. Usually, after my office, I used to scroll through dating sites and I found Mary. She was a pretty girl with red hair and fine beauty. We started chatting, and from the site and after a few days, we decided to meet. I liked her, but unfortunately, we dated for just 3 weeks because our mindsets were very different at the start. I tried to compromise, but how far I can wait? So we discussed the issue and decided to break up. We are still in touch, but just as a casual friend. After 2 months of breaking up, I met Hella on the same dating site. She was a gorgeous blonde girl with very awful eyes. I bring her to my father's house where I lived with my father and brothers. I showed her everything we have in our house, like expensive cars, antique paintings. She was very happy that we have all these things. We started hanging out. She loved to watch movies, so I always booked tickets for the movie every week. We were spending quality time because that's what I always want, to be with someone who always loves to be with me. I told Hella about my previous relationship because I wanted to be loyal with her. The reason behind that was I was in love with her, but she did not tell me about her past in previous relationships. It was strange. Whenever I start this topic, she either got busy or changed the topic. I can feel something was wrong because whenever I started this topic, she looked nervous. I realized that maybe she's waiting for the right moment to tell me the whole thing, so I stopped asking her about her past. After a couple of weeks, she invited me to meet her mother, so I bought some flowers and champagne and went to their house to meet her mother. When I reached their house, I was super shocked when I met her because she was young. Even she looked like elder sister of Hella. She was also a gorgeous woman with an impressive personality. I gave her the flowers and greeted her. She said to Hella, "He's much tall and more handsome than you told me." I gave her the flowers and the bottle of champagne. She thanked me and she started asking me about myself and my family. I told her about my background scenario. She looked very impressed. It was a casual talk and she said I can see and feel how much Hella and you like each other and asked me to marry her daughter. I was shocked at that moment, but the fact was that I liked Hella, but it was unexpected. However, surprisingly, I agreed, and the next day I arranged a dinner where I invited Hella and my family, and I proposed to Hella for marriage, and she agreed. After a few weeks, we got married. We were happy and living a fabulous life. One day I told her that now we will shift to the apartment because, as I said, I was a modest person, so don't want to use any wealth of my father. She was amazed and asked me why I am doing this and why I didn't tell her about this before marriage. She was trying to convince me that this is our house. Look at the beauty of the house. It was her dream that she always wanted to live in this sort of place. I told her that I am working hard to earn everything at my own self, not with the wealth of my father. Finally, we moved to the apartment, but from that day her attitude changed towards me. She stopped hanging out with me, not even responded to me when I started any conversation. I noticed something. She started spending much more time with her mother, and her mother's attitude also changed. I was astonished. I asked myself what I have done wrong. Even though I fulfilled all the requirements of Hella, I used to immediately get her whatever she wanted. I asked her many times what is the main problem she has, but she said nothing. One day I came back home and found her a bit happy. I asked her to go for dinner, but she refused. It was unusual for me because if she was happy today, so why she refused? I ignored it because I was satisfied by her fine mood. At midnight, I woke up and I did not find Hella in the room. Then I heard her voice. She was talking to someone on the phone in the kitchen. It was Hella, and she looked very fresh and happy at this time. It was a suspicious act. Who was at the phone? She responded her mother, but I knew that she was hiding something. I was aware at that time that she was lying to me, but I thought it might be possible she was talking to her mom because they were very attached. The very next day, when I was getting ready and Hella was taking the shower, her cell phone was on the bed. Suddenly it rang. I saw it was an unknown number. I told her that she has a call, but she was taking the shower, she couldn't hear me, and the mobile stopped beeping. But after 2 minutes again, it rang and I picked the call. I know it's unethical, but I was curious about Hella's activities and the unknown number. So I picked the call and there was a person on call. He was not aware that it's not Hella who is talking in a very frank way. "Where are you, sweetie? I'm waiting for you desperately." Even I saw Hella coming out. I cut the call and laid it on the bed, acting as if I didn't know anything, so I could see her reaction. I just politely told her that your cell phone was ringing, and her expressions were very bizarre, as she was afraid of anything. However, I did not react and behaved normally to demonstrate that I was unaware of the call, and I left for the work. But I was very emotionally disturbed, and how I was controlling myself. I'm the only one who witnessed that level of patience. I decided to follow her to find out what was the real hell going on behind me. I called my manager and informed him that I'll not come today because of a personal reason, and followed her. First, she reached her mother's house, and then they both went to a restaurant where they both met a person. At first I thought maybe they met their old friend, but again messages on their cell phones of Hella were telling me something else. So this time I was sure there's something very wrong happening. After that, I returned from the restaurant. From that day, I started spying on Hella, but I was very confused. Whenever she met that person, her mother was always along with her. It doesn't make any sense, but still, something was very wrong this time. My optimistic mind was turning into a pessimist because of all facts. One day, Hella was chatting with that person on her cell phone. I watched her unlocking her cell phone to know the password, so very smartly I noted the password. Luckily, after a few days, I got a chance to unlock her cell phone and opened the chat and found out that they were dating and getting married soon. This made my hand and mind tremble. Further, I opened her mother's chat and I found that she was also involved in procuring that wealthy man for Hella. It was then that I realized what they wanted from me. They just wanted my wealth and what I had inherited from my father. When Hella and her mother realized that I would never take a single penny from my father's wealth, they began to look for someone else wealthy for her. And it was she who was really behind this plot. I was in extreme anger but still controlled myself because I did not have any solid proof against them. I was depressed and felt sick for more than 1 month. I decided to go to the psychiatrist because I couldn't take this anymore. I always asked myself, how can my wife cheat on me just for money? I always loved her, respected her, and tried my best to make her happy. But it was not just her fault. Her mother was involved in all the planning. She was a clever woman. She dictated her for each and everything. She wants her to marry a wealthy man so she can get some financial benefits from her son-in-law. Now everything was crystal clear. Now I had to figure out a way to catch them red-handed. So I bought a new number and tried to chat with my wife using that number, as well as a fake account to prove that I'm wealthy. I was afraid she would never reply because she was involved in an extramarital affair, but surprisingly, she replied to me too and started chatting with me as well. I cursed myself for asking myself what kind of woman she was who was desperate for money. In the course of our conversation, I made her realize that I'm one of the richest men in town. She left that person too, the one they both met in the restaurant. On the same time, I behaved normal with Hella in real life, so she wouldn't doubt me. She asked me many times to meet. Since I only need evidence about her, I declined. After I caught her in my trap, she asked me to meet her mom. Since it was the right time to expose her, I prepared divorce papers, took screenshots, recorded messages, and prepared divorce documents. At her mother's house, I knocked on the door and Hella opened it. Being surprised to see me there, her face changed color and I entered. At first, her mother tried to cover up, but I quickly showed her the screenshots and voice messages. Both were enraged and then told her I was the one who was invited. It's all part of my plot to find out the truth with facts. I couldn't bear seeing Hella's face. My heart cries every day because of that selfish woman. I gave her divorce papers. It was the only punishment I could give such a selfish woman. Finally, after divorce, I'm free man now. I never had to see her again. I will live a peaceful life. But the most significant thing is, I'll never trust anyone because of this terrible incident. Women are all same, and everyone is selfish. While everyone has their own dreams and basic needs, this is not the proper way to become wealthy. What sort of woman is a gold digger? I would advise you to know each and everything about the person you are planning to marry. If you don't do that, your life will be destroyed just as I told you.